So how do you obtain high quality tenants for your rental properties? What are the tips and strategies so that you can make sure that you never have a nightmare tenant? All of that coming right up. Ready, set, go. What's going on, everybody? Steven from the Vargas team here again. And if you're new to my channel, first and foremost, welcome. I bring you real estate related content about buying, selling, renting, and investing in real estate. So again, no pressure. Consider subscribing if you'd like to know more information about that. Just know it'll hurt my feelings if you don't subscribe. But again, no pressure. Now, in today's video, I'll be talking to you guys about the tenant screening process, and especially in today's market with a potential recession coming upon us, if we're not already in a recession, you as a landlord or potential landlord want to brush up on your skills as to the tenant screening process, because there's nothing worse to have the wrong tenant in place. So how would I even know all of this information? That's a great question. So as a real estate agent, real estate investor, and co-owner of a property management company, we've handled hundreds of applications, hundreds of applicants and rentals. So over the years, we've learned the do's and the don'ts of what to actually make sure you look out for. Now, I don't want you to go through the same mistakes that I did. That's why YouTube was invented. So you can learn from my mistakes and the mistakes of others and make sure you don't incorporate those mistakes into your journey or your real estate journey. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about some of the tips and strategies that I've implemented over my years as a real estate agent, investor, and property manager. All right, guys, let's start with the most obvious that everybody should be collecting, regardless if you're looking or watching my video. This is the industry standard. So this is at the very least the basics of what you should be collecting when screening a tenant. Number one, you want to actually collect a copy of all the IDs of people who are over the age of 18 that plan on applying. And you also want to send them a rental application to be completed, again, by everybody over the age of 18. This rental application, you can actually obtain a copy by just doing a simple Google search, finding a free copy online. There's a bunch of templates online, so you can do that, or you can actually reach out to a property manager or a real estate agent in your market. They should have one handy and should be able to send you one so that you can save this and utilize it for any new prospective tenants coming up in the future. This rental application is vital that you get completed because it's going to actually paint a very good picture of your applicants, and it highlights a lot of important points and information that you as a landlord want to be aware of. For one, it's going to highlight their contact information, how many people are going to be living in the property, how many people over the age of 18. It also tells you how much money they make in a monthly or hourly basis so that you can determine what their monthly income is. It tells you their contact information for their supervisor, how long they've been working there. It also tells you their current rental situation, where their landlord or property is located, how long they've been living at the property, how much rent they pay, and the contact information for their landlord. So this rental document, again, is going to be key to starting the rental application, but it doesn't stop there, because the next document you should be obtaining is their financial documents. To get started, the financial documents, you should be, at the very least, again, be obtaining 3 months of pay stubs for each applicant and 3 months of bank statements for each applicant. Now, these documents are going to tell you two different things. For one, the pay stubs is going to show you how much monthly income each applicant makes. The rule of thumb, or what you're going for here, is that the monthly income should be 3 times that of the rent. So if the rent is $1,000, total household monthly income should be 3 times that. So that would make it $3,000 net income. The bank statements, on the other hand, is going to tell you their reserves or their savings. This is going to pinpoint how long they can actually weather a storm if, God forbid, they lose their job or some sort of life event happens where it impedes them from paying rent. Again, like I said, this is the basic information that you should be collecting. If you could collect more than 3 months of pay stubs or more than 3 months of bank statements, I would highly recommend you do that. Some people collect 2 years of tax returns. You could do that as well. If somebody's self-employed, this may come in handy. But again, it all depends on your market. It all depends on your area. So I would consult with your real estate agent, your property management company in your market to determine what's actually common. But I would say, rule of thumb, if you're able to collect this, you'll be in pretty good shape for the first part of the screening process. Guys, are you finding value from this video so far? If so, help me promote the channel by giving this video a like, clicking that little thumbs up button that you see somewhere on the screen. I promise you, it's quick, painless. It'll take you 0.2 seconds and I'll be out of your hair. Okay? Thanks. Let's get back to the video. Guys, now unfortunately, this is where a lot of people stop with the tenant screening application process, and they kind of just use the information that I just gave you to make a determination. And unfortunately, I believe that this is where a lot of people make this mistake. And by doing this, you actually leave a lot of extra verification and security measures that you can take on the table, and you're setting yourself up to selecting or accepting a bad tenant, which down the road may be more headache than it's actually worth. So I want to share with you guys some additional security or verification measures that you should take as a landlord to screen your tenant properly to make sure that they're the right fit. First and foremost, you want to run their credit history and a background check on your applicant. Now, a lot of third-party sites are going to be able to give you this information or a link for a fee, of course, which you can then pass on to the tenant. And this fee, when they pay for it, they're going to be able to run their background and run their credit history on this applicant. And usually you get the reports back within 24 to 48 hours. So it's a rather quick process. And then you as a landlord are able to verify and look at a complete picture as to what their financial and personal status is. And the reason why you want to transfer over this fee is because this fee is, again, another screening method or tactic that you could utilize. For the people that are willing to pay this fee, that means that they're serious, they really want the property, they have nothing to hide, and usually that means that they're going to move forward and everything is going to be okay. That's been my experience. Moreover, what you're looking for is the eviction record. So the eviction record is going to tell you if the tenant has been evicted. An eviction basically means that they didn't pay the rent, therefore the landlord had to use legal measures to forcibly remove them from the actual property. One of the last things that you should be doing as a landlord is checking verifying their employment. Now I say this as the last thing because you don't want to do this process or this step until everything else that I've spoken about has checked out and they've cleared and passed all those steps and verifications. The reason why is because you're going to contact their employer. You don't want to waste your time in contacting your employer and having conversations that don't need to be had if you don't even plan on approving them for your property. You want to check payment structure. If they say they're on salary, you want to make sure it's not a commission-based job. If they say they work full-time, you obviously want to make sure that it's not a part-time job. You don't want to make sure that it's not a seasonal job. You want to make sure that they haven't given their 2 weeks notice. I had once somebody who moved in and I called their employer and they said, yeah, they just gave their 2 weeks. So the last verification step that I recommend, and it's a very controversial one because there's a lot of schools of thought on this, is to contact their current or previous landlord. Now, I get why a lot of people have reservations for this. I'm of the belief that if you're a landlord and you have a bad tenant, you're going to say anything that you can to get them out of your property if the opportunity presents itself. Take whatever conversations you have with current or previous landlords with a grain of salt. You want to just get what they're saying, but more so how they're saying it, if you catch my drift. So you want to pay attention to their inflection, their tone and tenor of their voice. The way I look at it is like this. If you're a landlord and you have a great tenant and that tenant leaves and another landlord is calling you, you're going to be sad to see that your good tenant is leaving. So if you are lying or you're not lying or you're trying to embellish things, I'll be able to determine by the way that you say them. I get both schools of thought, but I still think that it's worth a try calling their landlord to see what you can pick up on. Now, I know this may sound a little overbearing, a little unnecessary, but trust me guys, especially during times like these, you as a landlord want to make sure you go that extra mile, that extra step to screen for potentially good tenants. And the best way of doing that is to do all of that due diligence and homework on the foreground and the beginning to make sure that you avoid any pitfalls and mistakes in the future. Trust me, when a tenant's in place and things go south, it's very difficult to get things to go back on track. So make sure you do your due diligence in the beginning and you avoid those nightmare situations. Again, sometimes the best outcome is to actually not go with an applicant or a tenant that you got. So I know that's difficult to do in some cases, especially with a recession ahead of us or if you're in a bad market, but you want to avoid those long-term headaches. And by doing that, you may mean passing up on an application and just waiting for somebody else. So know what you're getting yourself into. This is a little bit of an invasive process for the tenant. So you as a landlord, you want to provide excellent service and make sure that this is as seamless of a process as possible. But at the very same time, you want to have a great relationship with your tenant and your tenant wants to have a great relationship with you. And if all else fails, guys, hire yourself a property management company. Keep yourself from pulling out your hair, keep yourself from the frustration and the time spent. Take it from somebody with me. I own a property management company. There's a lot to it, and property management companies, we're the pros, we're the experts. There's a property management company in your market that I'm sure is great. Sometimes they're a little cost effective, sometimes they're a little cost restrictive, but at the end of the day, they save yourself a lot of time, and time is money. So if you want to do it that way, you can just avoid everything that I just spoke about and hire yourself a property management company and they'll just take it from there. However, if you insist on being hands-on, on saving yourself that money, then obviously utilize the steps that I've spoken about in these videos and you'll make sure that you don't run into any nightmare tenant problems. I hope you found value from this video. If you haven't done so already, please like the video. I know it's a little annoying, guys, but it really helps me as a YouTuber and as a real estate agent to promote my channel to as many people as possible. So give this video a like, and if you're new to my channel, again, please subscribe. I post videos like this on a weekly basis, and I want to make sure that you don't miss out on any of my new content. Thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing all of you guys in my next video, and until then, I will see you in my next video.